I can't unilaterally fix its timetable, but sooner or later that process will commence and hopefully conclude.
Could you bring us update on three things: GST, the Committee on FRBM, and also what's happening on the whole disinvestment thing, going beyond the center of DIPAM and the location of the thing in the ECI?
You see, as far as the GST is concerned, I did not get into the entire history.
No, not the history.
Except for the 1% additional tax for 2 years on interstate transactions, which was done to mollify the manufacturing states, and that is something which I've already said I am open about, because the rest of the GST bill is verbatim the same what the UPA had introduced, and therefore one has to analyze these afterthoughts. Now the Parliamentary Standing Committee has approved it. The Rajya Sabha Select Committee has approved it, minus that 1%. And therefore, I think in the debate on the finance bill last week in the Rajya Sabha, I more or less made the position clear on both the issues, that is the dispute redressal mechanism, as also on this so-called 18% cap. And I hope, in view of what I had said, the Congress party would revisit its position. I certainly would be keeping the discussions with them on. I've always said that my preference is that a consensus must emerge, because all state governments across political complexion have to implement it, and therefore consensus is the better way. And I do hope it moves in that direction. If consensus doesn't emerge, then the only other alternative is the parliamentary process. We'll ask the Rajya Sabha to discuss it and take a view on it.
The other two issues?
The other two on the FRBM, you won't have to wait very long.
And disinvestment apart from the NITI Aayog?
No, disinvestment, if you see, last year we had to revise the target, and the reason for the target being revised obviously was that because of all kinds of factors, predominantly external, the markets were extremely volatile, and in the midst of that extremely volatile market, the metal prices, the gas prices, the oil prices were low. And since because of revenue buoyancy plus ARMs, I was meeting the revenue targets, we took a view that when the prices are low, it would not be in larger public interest to divest, and therefore we revised the target and then met the revised target. Hopefully the market stabilizes this year more, and therefore we've expanded the scope from the routine divestment which will be on. Then you could, the DIPAM has started this process. When the markets are low, you can always have a buyback, because a lot of these units have are very cash rich and they can afford a buyback. Thereafter, you can have strategic sales. I had a meeting several months ago with the Department of Tourism, and also civil aviation for the hotels that both the departments own. And that process of strategic divestment is being worked out wherever it is possible. In some of the hotels, the state governments also have a stake. So the state governments will also have to be brought, and some of those which are jointly owned by the state governments are not exactly in the best of health, those hotels. Niti Aayog is looking into other companies, and I won't comment till I get their report. We'd also thrown up this idea, and we are waiting for the first public PSU to emerge, where an asset segregation and a sale takes place. Now globally, asset recycling adds to a national resource. That is to say, you segregate a functional asset and you can sell off that asset, and with the resource that comes in, that resource is recycled by the PSU to create a fresh asset. So you'll be able to duplicate your resources. This can happen where there are multiple units some PSUs own. No, I think the units will have to identify it themselves.
This is on the annual right now?
No, I had announced it in the budget, but we have not identified any unit. But that option, I would say, is open.
Sir, GST again. In the reply to Finance Bill in Lok Sabha, you did some tough talking. Congress has to make up its mind from now to the monsoon session, or else they will take passage by vote. So the whole thing boils down to your numbers in Rajya Sabha. How confident are you that by monsoon session you will have?
You see, I am reasonably confident because every political party, including the Congress party, favors the GST. In fact, the Congress party should have had the vision to support it more aggressively, because they could claim the original authorship of the idea. B, if you actually do a number count about all those who are supporting the GST, and every regional party, barring one which has some mixed voices, but I think we can speak to them, that's the AIDMK. Every other regional party has a strong interest in passage of GST, because the states where it's going to have an impact, it helps those states. So whether it's the SP or the BSP in Uttar Pradesh, it's the JDU or the RJD in Bihar, it's the left in West Bengal and Kerala, it's the Trinamool in West Bengal, it's the Biju Janata Dal. Now each one of them, each one of the UPA partners, from the DMK to the NCP, are making strong noises in support. And therefore, if you take a broad head count, I am reasonably confident when it comes to the crunch. It's extremely difficult for even the Congress party to take a contrarian view.
So have you spoken to all Congress states about it?
You see, I have spoken to all chief ministers of all states, including UPA and Congress states. Every chief minister of a Congress state is a strong supporter of the idea. After all, he has his own state interest to protect.
Radhika. Mr. Jaitley, one of your fellow MPs in the Rajya Sabha recently asked for Mr. Raghuram Rajan's exit. And what, as a senior minister of the government, what do you have to say to it? Because your central role relations with Mr. Rajan have been quite patchy, in the past.
Let me clearly say, as far as the Finance Ministry and the RBI are concerned, there is an institutional relationship between the two. It's a very mature relationship, and we, at the highest level in the two institutions, have discussions and each other's view is considered between us. And I don't think about this relationship that you mentioned, what appears in the media, you should give much credence to.
Is he getting an extension? Is he getting an extension?
Well, these are not issues that we discuss through the media.
Sunita.
What's the reason that Supreme Court has determined the order of the government to release funds immediately for home based?
You see, this is the question as far as the drought is concerned and inadequate rainfall in the last 2 years is concerned. There is an institutionalized mechanism which has been functioning. There is a law made by Parliament. Under that law made by Parliament, we release funds every year to the National Disaster Relief Fund, to the State Disaster Relief Fund. Additionally, we take other measures, such as last year, in some of the states, Manrega option of 150 days instead of 100 days was also given. Now, I strongly believe that in our constitutional system, every rupee that the government of India spends has to be sanctioned by Parliament. And therefore, I would not like in any way Parliament's authority over appropriation of public funds to be diluted in any way. If more funds are needed, it is for Parliament to appropriate more funds. That is exclusively a parliamentary domain.
Vichitra at the back.
I want to come back to the GST thing. You just said that most of the political parties are supportive of it. In the light of that, then what happens when the representatives in Rajya Sabha, those who are just leading Rajya Sabha, they have not supported it. So where do they stand when they go back to their constituencies? When the parties are supporting it and the members have not supported it? Those who are relinquishing Rajya Sabha right now.
People like?
The terms, those whose terms are over.
But that's all right. I think
And the Prime Minister has said,
Parliament, you see, I think the Prime Minister said in a context of all the work that Parliament has done in the last few sessions, and then he just made a comment that there were two legislations which would help the states a lot. One was the Campa funds, the forestation, where every state would get 2,000 to 3,000 crores just for greening the states, and for which there is a unanimous report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee. And the second is the GST, which would help a large number of states. So I think he said that since you are going back, it would have been, you will regret the fact that these bills are eventually to be passed, but it would have been better if you had taken credit for having passed it, because as a council of states, it's the states which are going to benefit from these legislations.
जी मेरा नाम भाषा है, मैं आउट ऑफ दिल्ली से हूँ। महंगाई, कालाधन और रोजगार 2 साल में बहुत कठिन समय रहे, मुद्दे रहे आपके लिए। अगले 3 सालों में कैसे आपको लगता है कि इन खासतौर से जो कालाधन और,
मुझे लगता है कि जेनरलिटीज में जाने की बहुत आवश्यकता नहीं है, इसमें स्पेसिफिक्स में आ जाए। पिछले 2 वर्ष महंगाई का नियंत्रण जो होता है उसके स्पष्ट आंकड़े उपलब्ध होते हैं।
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.